So now here we are, 1986, and this is the school district Bethel versus Fraser. Fraser is a high school student who is giving a speech at an assembly for a friend who is running for school office. The speech was previewed by two of his teachers, and he is warned that it is not appropriate and he needs to change it. Well, he goes ahead and gives the speech despite the warnings. The speech was given at an assembly, and the students were required to either go to the assembly or go to study hall. After the speech is given, he is originally suspended for 3 days, but only serves 2 days of that suspension. He consequently sues with the help from the ACLU, and it makes its way all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court determines that there's some issues going on here. The whole time, Fraser is contending that just that, like in the Tinker case, that he has the right to free speech, and the Supreme Court says, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! This is different than the Tinker case because in the Tinker case it was tied to a political viewpoint. In this case, it's just obscene speech, which is different than a political viewpoint." So they determined that the school acted in loco parentis, which we talked about last week, which in this case is a good thing. The Supreme Court says yes, the school has an obligation to protect students, young students, from speech that they find vulgar or obscene. In this case, there were students as young as 14 years old in the assembly, and the court mentioned something about they're just old enough to start being aware of what this guy's talking about. They also mention in it that it is the jobs of the schools and not the courts to determine what manner of speech is permissible. That's the court saying we don't want to hear all of these cases about is this permissible speech. They're saying that is the job of the schools to determine what is permissible. And in at the end, it mentions that the schools do not have an equal burden that the courts do when determining punishments. It says that due to the varied natures of the situations that they see, the schools need to have some flexibility and some wiggle room in what types of punishments they give out, and that they don't have to have as rigid of uh, rules to follow in dealing with punishment that the courts have.